That's a very good bunny hop. All right. So it sounded like today. Okay, you gotta let mommy teach though. Okay, so it sounded like today people were really keen on hips because we've all been sitting. So we're gonna focus on. I do want Kiki. Come here. We're gonna focus on the hip flexors today, and so that's the big strappy muscle that is right here. So we're gonna start now. Let's go ahead and start. Can you show everyone how we do down dog? Let's show everyone how we do down dog. We're gonna start out with doing down dog. All right? Okay.
I do down dog.
All right. So let's go ahead and let's start with down dog. Oh, excellent, Kiona. So we'll go ahead and start out with down dog.
Kitty cat.
Yes, you can do the kitty cat. So spreading all 10 fingers, all 10 toes. Taking a few breaths here. Kind of alternating bending and straightening your legs.
I want to teach house pose. I want to teach house pose.
Okay, you can do that, honey. And bending, driving that left heel down, bending the right knee,
Mama,
bending the
can you
left
teach house
knee, driving the
pose?
right. Yes. Why don't you go sit on the couch, Kiona?
Mama.
Thank you. All right, inhaling, right leg comes up towards the sky. Swing it way forward, runner's lunge. So the right foot in between the hands, we're gonna drop that left knee down. We're gonna reach the arms forward, up and back.
Mama.
You're gonna say?
There's someone at the door that wants to come in.
You mean the dog? Why don't you let the dog in then? So we're gonna send the left hip forward while we pull our right hip back. So inhale, forward, up and back. The more you reach your arms straight up towards the sky, the more you toss your arms back behind you, the more you're gonna get the stretch in the front of that left hip. So everything's connected. We're gonna reach up tall, toss the arms back behind you. Reach up tall, toss the arms back behind you. Open your arms into goalpost arms, pressing your chest forward. Inhale. Stacking your hips over your knee. Exhale like you're trying to pull the curtains apart. Goalpost arms. So we're getting a chest opener and a left hip opener. We're going to windmill the hands down, come back into all fours, tuck the toes, lift the hips, come back into a down dog. Spread the fingers out wide and really press down to all 10 finger pads. Taking a couple breaths here. Inhale. Exhale, driving the chest towards the thigh bone. Squeeze the inner thighs. Inhale, left leg comes up towards the sky. Swing it way forward, runner's lunge. Drop the feet in between your hands. Drop the right knee down. Reach the hands forward, up, and back. Reaching that right arm up towards the ceiling, sending that right hip forward, left hip back. So we're really trying to find length and opening up the front of that right hip. Inhale, tall. Exhale, toss the arms back way behind you. Inhale, tall. Exhale, toss the arms way behind you. Inhale, tall. Exhale, keep tossing those arms behind you. That's all connected to the front of that right hip. Stack your hips back, or stack your hips back over the knee. Inhale, like you're pulling the curtain open, goalpost arms. So your elbows are at 90 degrees, opening the chest. Inhale, come back. Inhale, tall. Exhale, like you're opening up the curtains, sending the hips forward. So you're shifting your hips forward, forward, forward. Now, if this is bothering your knee, you can always pad your knee with a towel or with a mat or a pillow. Inhale one more time. Exhale, send the chest forward, open, open, open. Windmill the hands down, come back into all fours, tuck the toes, lift the hips. Downward facing dog. Spread all 10 fingers. Inhale, lift the heels up high. Lift the tailbone up towards the sky. So press the rib cage towards the thigh bones, and now lower both heels towards the earth. Inhaling, right leg comes up towards the sky. Take the right foot, place it in between your hands. runner's lunge. So sink down, strong and straight back leg. So you're going to take your left heel and you're going to press it towards the wall behind you. So strong and straight, that's going to fire up your left quad. If your left quad is fired up, we can sink down and open up the hip a little bit more. Walk the right foot out wider. So to the right, take your arms out into a T and press that right shin bone against your tricep. So I don't know if you can see this. So here I take an angle, so my arm is going to go across my shin bone in front, and I'm pressing my shin bone, I'm rocking it forward and back. So I'm getting some mobility and warming up that hip flexor muscle. Yeah. So take the arms out wide in front, rocking the runner's lunge back and forth, lifting the hips, straightening out both legs. Both legs into a pyramid pose, into pyramid pose. If you happen to have 2 blocks, you can use those on the tall side to help you out. If you don't, that's okay too. So come back into a runner's lunge. Left heel presses back, opening through the hips, lift the hips up high, straightening out both legs. Pyramid pose. Reach the collarbone forward. Inhale, bend, and lift the chest forward, and then pyramid pose, straightening out both legs straight. So it doesn't matter if your hands don't touch the ground, the blocks help bring the ground closer to you so that you can press down into something. If not, that's okay. Pull the belly in, flat back, collarbone forward. And then come back into a runner's lunge, plant the hands down, step it back into all fours, tuck the toes, lift the hips into down dog. Inhaling, left leg comes up towards the sky. Drive the right heel down, left foot in between the hands, and coming into a runner's lunge. So really weeble wobble your right foot back. Press the right heel back and come into your runner's lunge. Strong right leg, strong right leg. So fire up that right quad, sinking and opening up your left hip. Take the left foot out further to the left. Take your arms out wider. Left tricep against the left shin bone. So rock it forward and back. Rock it forward and back. Getting some lubrication, stimulating movement. And walk the hands back in. Walk the right foot back in a little closer, straightening out both legs. If you have 2 blocks, you can use those. Or if you don't, you can be here or here, touching the ground. If you can't, that's okay. Both legs straight. The most important thing is that your left hip, so if you take your left hand into your left hip, pull the left hip back. Because your tailbone wants to wag over to the left. You want to pull the left hip back. That's going to give you a hamstring stretch. And reach the collarbone forward. Walk it forward into runner's lunge. And back into a pyramid pose. Again, pull that left hip back, wag the tailbone towards the right. Runner's lunge. Press it back. Pyramid pose. Runner's lunge. Pyramid pose. And then walk the hands in, come into all fours, step it back, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Inhaling, right leg comes up towards the sky, bend the right knee, lift the right knee up higher like you're trying to touch the right knee up towards the ceiling. Keeping that lift, now straighten out the leg. Finding more length in the front of the right hip. You can stay here or drop your left forearm down onto the mat. So you're on your right hand and your left forearm is down and you're in like a half dolphin, half down dog, reaching your right foot up towards the sky, opening through the front of the right hip. Come back onto your palms, right foot in between the hands, runner's lunge. And look up. We're gonna come into a crescent lunge. You can either drop your left knee down or keep your left knee elevated, reach like you're picking up a big beach ball or a big yoga ball, forward, up and back. Stack your left heel, press your left heel forward, arms up, toss the arms back. The more you toss your left arm back, the more opening in your front of your left hip. So right knee is over the right ankle, left heel is stacked over the ball of the left foot. You can always drop your back knee down for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Windmill the hands down to the inside of the foot. Come down for lizard. Okay, I'll turn so you can see. Want to come down, drop the back knee down, and you can come down for lizard pose. So you drop your right knee out to the side. You come to the outside edge of your right foot, and then you just come on down. If you have a block, you can elevate yourself, placing your forearms onto the block. Or if you don't have a block, you can stay here. If you can't come down onto the ground, onto the mat, or just come all the way down onto the ground. And breathe. And with every breath, you know, a lot of these hip openers, it might take 15 or 20 breaths to kind of coax your hip muscles to, because the immediate reaction is like a protective, a defensive, right? It just immediately wants to tighten. And so it takes 10, 15 breaths for your muscles to just slowly just even release. So after you get through those 10 or 15 breaths, with every inhalation, with every exhalation, with every exhalation, can you get your muscle in your hip to just release an extra millimeter? And the next exhalation, can you get it to release another millimeter? So inhale, drop the sole of the foot back down, shift the hips forward. And so if you want, you can stay here. This might be enough to open the front of the left hip, or you can, left hand finds the left ankle, shift the hips forward for king pigeon, right hand onto the right thigh. Yeah. Thumb points up. Yeah, so keeping the left shoulder open, thumb points up. What happens is if you turn your thumb down, my shoulder concaves, and then I'm closing off my shoulder. We have plenty of that during the work day. Opening up, so we're getting a 2-for-1 special. We're opening up through the left shoulder, and we're getting a quad stretch and a hip opener, so that's actually 3. 3 for 1. Yeah. Bringing your heel to your sit bones, shifting your hips forward, and release. All right. Are you guys sweating? I'm sweating. Windmill the hands down. Step it back and find yourself back into down dog. Taking 3 breaths here. And really active. So your down dog is super active. So here, down dog, you're just kind of hanging out, right? So down dog is super active. We're pressing into the palms, pressing into the heels of the palms, pressing the chest, the rib cage towards the thigh bones. Inhaling, left leg comes up towards the sky. Bending through the left knee, drive the right heel down. The left knee lifts up higher towards the ceiling, like you're trying to touch the ceiling. Keeping that lift, straighten out the left leg, opening up the front of the left hip even more, driving the right heel down. You're using lots of muscles. Optional, you can drop your right forearm down, so you're on your left hand, right forearm, twist Twist underneath your left arm, peekaboo. For 3. Keep lifting that left leg up higher, 2. And 1. Come back into one-legged down dog, so on both palms. Left foot comes in between your hands, runner's lunge. Crescent lunge, you can either drop your back knee down or keep your right knee lifted. Inhale, scoop up your big beach ball. Forward, up and back. Everyone's got their big beach ball. Who can lift their big beach ball up higher? Can you touch your big beach ball up towards the ceiling? Sending your right hip forward. So pull the left hip back, right hip forward. That's gonna open up your front of your right hip. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly place your beach ball down so it doesn't roll away. Plant the hands to the inside of the foot, come down, drop the right knee down, come to the outside edge of the left foot for lizard pose. So this is for opening up the outer left hip. So you can either stay up here onto your palms, or if it's available to you, coming down onto your forearms onto the mat. And again, take the 15 breaths. And with each breath, can you envision your breath going into your hips, finding more space? Can you coax your hip muscles to just release? And inhale, coming back up, plant the sole of the left foot down. Send your hips forward. So maybe you stay here in a low lunge and you focus on pulling your left hip back, right hip forward. You can take your hands if you're here in low lunge. The more you reach your arms up and back, the greater the stretch in the front of your right hip. Or maybe you take King Pigeon by finding your right ankle with your right hand. Thumb points up towards the sky, shifting the hips forward, bringing the heel to your sit bone. And when you're in this, you're on the other knee. You're not on the knee. You're actually on the fleshy part above the knee. And so if you need to pad underneath your right knee, you can use a towel. You can double up your mat. You can use a pillow. And release. Windmill the hands down. Come back into all fours. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Downward facing dog. And take about 4 or 5 breaths to get into a deeper down dog. Squeeze the inner thighs towards each other with the imaginary block in between your thighs. Draw the chest closer to your rib cage closer to your thigh bone, and really press, using your hands to push your ears past your arms. And lower the knees down. And come on up for camel pose. So camel pose, if you have a block, you can use a block in between your thighs and squeeze. If not, just squeeze the imaginary block. So inhale, squeeze the inner thighs towards each other, toss the arms forward, up and back like you're splashing the water in a pool. You're gonna send your hips forward, squeeze the inner thighs, chest forward, belly button forward, so everything comes forward. The more that you send things forward, the greater the stretch and the back bend. So back bends are all about things going forward. It's kind of an opposite thinking.
So chest forward, hips forward, thighs forward, and I'm lengthening. I don't want to think about shortening my back because it'll pinch my back. I want to think about lifting forward and up like a big C, like C as in cookie. Big lift, 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 and send and lengthen. So I'm trying to go up and back like over a big wine barrel. Squeeze the inner thighs. And sending the hips forward, keeping the chin tucked. Lift up and back. Toss your arms up and back. Squeeze. Belly forward, chest forward, thighs forward, hips forward. Squeeze. Squeeze your glutes. For 4, 3, 2, 1. Use your core to neutralize through the spine. And release. Release, release, and kind of round your back. And you can come down and walk your hands forward for child's pose. So inhale, come on up. Inhale, toss the arms forward, up and back. Open, open, open. Exhale, come down, dive forward into all fours. Lower down, knees, chest, chin. So you're in like a supported plank pose. Pull the belly button up and in, so tuck your tailbone. Lower down, knees, chest, chin. Roll the shoulders back and down. Tops of the feet down like cobra. So drag your body forward like a summer zombie movie, like you're a zombie, right? We want to pull the body forward, lengthen crown of the head, forward, so spine goes long. Tuck the toes, come into all fours, round, into camel, toss the water forward, up and back, open, inhale. Exhale, dive forward like you're gonna dive into a pool, lower down into from supported plank. Roll the shoulders back and down like cobra. Drag your body forward like a zombie. It's summer zombie movie time. So pull the body forward, tuck the toes, come into all fours. We're gonna come back into camel, forward, up and back. Remember, hips forward, chest forward, open, inhale. Exhale, dive into our pool. Crawl under the fence, be the zombie. Roll the shoulders back and down, pull the body forward, round. Round like a cat, walk the hands, come be a camel, inhale. Exhale, open chest, inhale. Exhale, dive forward, crawl underneath the fence, be the zombie, roll the shoulders back and down, pull the body forward. Round into a cat, squeeze the inner thighs, camel. Shift the hips forward, thighs forward, belly button forward, inhale. Exhale, dive forward, crawl underneath the fence. Zombie forward like cobra. Tuck the toes, round into a cat, and come have a seat. All right, let's see, how do we close this one out? Well, maybe double pigeon. Yeah, let's do double pigeon. Okay. So we did a lot of hip flexor, right? Friend the hip flexor in all kinds of different ways. A little bit of outer thigh, outer hip with lizard. So we'll do double pigeon. So remember, shin bones parallel. So shin bones parallel to the front of the mat, stacking ankle over knee, knee over ankle. You'll notice that if your heel is further away from the edge of the knee, that's going to be very different than all the way to the edge of the knee, right here. And it's okay if you have a gap. Sometimes your mobility, my mobility changes depending if I'm at the beginning of a 90-minute yoga class or at the end of a 90-minute yoga class, and that's okay. 30 minutes isn't a lot of time to get kind of deep. So, you know, after 60 minutes, your body's going to be really different. So you can use, I have my pillow. What else do you do with the Marketing Nation Summit pillow? You can put it in between so that you have something to press down on. Roll the shoulders back and down. Tent the fingertips behind you and press the knees down. Maybe this is enough for you. If you want to go further, you can walk the hands forward, pressing the knees down towards the earth and forward fold. You're going to feel this stretch in your piriformis that's deep within the right hip. And reaching the collarbone forward. Forward, forward, forward. Inhale. Coming back up and switching sides. So the other side, Stacking knee over ankle over knee, knee over ankle. Find the edge of the knee if that's available to you. If there's a huge gap, place a block or a pillow or a towel in between so that you can have something to press down against. Roll the shoulders back and down. Tent the fingertips, lift the chest, press the knees down. Forward fold. So today we focused really on one aspect of the hips. And remember, I think we talked about this before, but there are many, many dimensions of the hip. The hip is like, your hip is kind of like Marketo. There's a lot of things that are connecting into your hips that affect and can pull your hip out of alignment or cause that tightness. So there's in general 6 dimensions of the hip. There's the hip flexor, so there's the front of the hip. There's your glute med, which is your low back. There's stuff that's pulling behind. There's rotation, right? You can be tight, rotating in or rotating out, and that's going to also be pulling on your hip girdle. So when we're stretching the hip, there's a lot that is going on, and so we usually are focusing on one aspect of the hip, and there are many, many different aspects of the hip. So we can spend the next couple of weeks on just focusing on the different dimensions of the hip. And time flew by because we're having fun, and we are at the bottom of the hour.